Good day, class. Welcome to this session of the class. Subject teacher, Ms. Doris, Civic Education for Senior Secondary School 3, Week 6, Topic HIV, Subtopic The ABC Methods of HIV and AIDS. But before then, let's quickly look at our previous topic where we discussed about the meaning of HIV and AIDS. We said that HIV and AIDS stands for Human Immune Deficiency Virus, so that the virus is that causes AIDS. And we also say that people get infected with HIV when the virus enters the body. It happens when the person is exposed to HIV virus infected person, that's the body fluid of the person, such as maybe through blood or sex fluids. And then we said that AIDS is acquired immune deficiency syndrome, and we also discussed what syndrome was. We said syndrome is defined as a sequence of infections. We also looked at the causes, drivers, and then the modes of transmission of HIV and AIDS. We said we looked at number 1, we looked at transfusion of blood, 2, blood transfer, sexually transmitted infections as the STDs. We also have maybe through pregnancy, mother-child, and breastfeeding. We looked at the signs, symptoms, and its effects of HIV and AIDS. Then we said the person who has reached the 8th stage of HIV infection often shows a number of signs of illness, which are night sweats, fever lasting for more than 1 month, and then dry cough lasting for more than 1 month, swelling around the neck, armpits, and private parts. We have oral thrush, we have itching, stain infections. Now today we are going to look at the prevention methods of HIV and AIDS. That's the ABC methods of HIV and AIDS. By the end of this lesson, we have to be able to understand the prevention methods of HIV and AIDS, to understand the meaning of stigmatization, and we should care for, and how we should care for people living with HIV and AIDS. Content development, HIV prevention methods and measures. The following are some of the main means of preventing the spread of HIV in our community and country. The ways, these are their ways are often called the ABC. Their ways are often called the ABC. The A meaning abstinence. When we have abstinence means not to be engaged in sexual acts since one is married. It means not to be engaged in sexual acts since one is married. Any sexual intercourse before marriage is regarded as a sin, and even our society frowns at such acts. They see it as indiscipline. Sexual intercourse is the most common way of contracting HIV and AIDS. 2, we have B. It stands for being faithful. B stands for being faithful to one partner, especially those that are married and in serious relationship. And one of the ways HIV spreads is by having a lot of sex partners. Faithfulness to one partner is one of the ways of curbing HIV and AIDS. C. It stands for the use of condoms. C. The use of condoms. This does not mean that sex is recommended for an unmarried person. It is usually made for married people to safeguard unwanted pregnancy, and for those who does not or who cannot attain from having sex. And then here we look at the stigmatization of people, how to care for people living with HIV and AIDS. That's the PLWHA. Stigmatization simply means labeling a people with a specific problem, labeling people with a specific problem. For instance, Nigerians of the among the Yorubas of Nigerians, they call it Awon Enyema. It's called Olajuka. It's called Olajuka because of ignorance and low literacy level among the people. Stigmatization is common, but it must be said that such a thing is negative and bad attitude to a sick person or someone suffering from one alignment or the other. Having HIV and AIDS is not a moral issue. HIV is not a sin or a crime. It is not that it is a virus. Anyone who is sexually active can be exposed to HIV and AIDS, and also anyone who is sick and needs to be given new blood to live can be at risk also in getting HIV and AIDS, because when the blood is being tested or is not being tested and the person gets infected by the HIV or the AIDS. He also said it can also be contacted by any child or infant that is breastfeeded by a mother who has HIV. The child too can also be at risk of getting HIV and AIDS. Now, if any of these above and other means of contacting HIV and AIDS happens, the reality is that the person is living with HIV and AIDS. The person therefore needs help and proper care as a member of the family, and the act of stigmatization must stop doing this. Doing this will afford the person living with HIV and AIDS to fulfill his or her destiny or his or her dreams as a member of the community, and also be able to contribute his or her own quota to the development of the nation and global and world globe. Now, you should also note that there are ways in which one cannot contact HIV and AIDS. It cannot be spread through incense. HIV can never be spread through incense. It can never be spread by touching common objects like maybe your toilet seats. It can never be spread like that. It can also not be spread by drinking from the same glass cup of the person. By drinking from the same glass cup which the person drank from. It can also not be spread by sweat, that is the sweat of the person. It can also not be spread by the tears, that's when the person is crying. It can also not be spread by urine, and even the feces cannot be spread by this following ways. It cannot be spread by insects. 2. It cannot be spread by touching common objects like toilet seats. 3. It cannot be spread by drinking from the same glass cup from the person with HIV. 4. It can also not be spread by sweat. 5. Cannot be spread by sweat, by tears. 6. Cannot be spread by urine. And 7. It cannot be spread by the feces. Now we quickly look at all we've learned for today. Number 1, evaluation. Number 1, how can we prevent the transmission of HIV? How can we prevent the transmission of HIV? We can prevent the transmission of HIV by using the ABC methods, which A stands for the abstinence. That means one not being engaged in sexual acts until he or she is married. The B stands for being faithful, that is mean basically for the partners, for married couples who are already couples who are already married. For one, being faithful to his partner. C stands for using condoms. Maybe the sex that is not sex that maybe when the couples don't need more children or don't want to have children yet, they can quickly use that condom to safeguard them from unwanted pregnancy. 2. Why should we shun stigmatization of people living with HIV? Now, we should shun it because those people, they need care and affection. They need someone who can care for them in order for them to afford a healthy living condition, can be able to fulfill their dreams, and they can also be able to contribute to the of their own quota to develop the nation and world at globe. Now for your assignments, you have to write in details what HIV and AIDS entails. What does HIV and AIDS entails, just as we've likely explained now and also in our previous class. 2. You have to read on the meaning of youth empowerment. 3. You have to read on the meaning of youth empowerment. Thank you for listening and see you in our next class. God bless and stay safe.